Hi everybody, fellow Earthlings. Glad that you could tune into this. I think this is really important for every single person. There's an old proverb that says, "It is counted foolishness for a man to answer a matter before he hears it." And if you can give the time for this, and look, it'd be the most precious time. There's 3-phase video blogs where just an overview of life that assesses what's happening around us at the moment. Why is what's happening around us at the moment? And is there a solution that is an absolute solution? And just good news, there is a great solution. But look, just assessing life as we have it before us, presented before us all day, every day. Here we are living 2021 at the moment. Things happening all over the planet. And look, I wouldn't be touching the tip of the iceberg to run through a few of these, but I just wanted to mention some of the issues that are confronting the earth, the ecosystem of the earth, mankind, and just our future. Where's it all going to go? Where's it heading? Are we just feeling our way through the dark, or is there more to it than that? Okay, so we'll look at this. Hopefully you can stick with it. I would really encourage you to. We're not asking you to join a group. We're not wanting your money. We just want you to assist. We just want to assist you in going through life. I think very sincerely this. I think everybody should know at least the predicament that we're dealing with and the scenarios that are available to us. But you can give it some thought as we go. So we're living in a time where the earth is under pressure like it never has been before. We've got 200 species a day, apparently, becoming extinct every day. Insects, fish, birds, animal life, whatever. But that's how big the effect is that mankind is having on the earth. We've got that. But we've got major problems with supply of critical living whatevers for the way that we live, wanting to be advancing and having, all the mod cons and more. There's all that, and then there's just the general, the earth has to supply food and water for the population, which is increasing. And anyway, I was going to go through a few things which bother me. And I don't know whether they bother you, but they should, because they're serious. These aren't little things that will go away. These are problems that are increasing that we haven't come to terms with yet as mankind. Okay, so the first one, which I think, and it is no particular order I must say, but I think the plastics problem for the planet is major. And I gather that there are rubbish, I don't know what you'd even call them, but just colossal amounts of plastic rubbish in the ocean. I read an article where they were saying that there is, in some places, there is so much rubbish accumulated, it's like the size of France. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. I do know that there are just colossal amounts that are increasing. We've known about it for years, but it's still increasing. But that's not even the major problem. I don't want to depress anyone here, but good to know these things. The problem is that just in the process of time, and most probably especially in the ocean, plastic does break down, and basically it sort of decomposes into like a molecular form where you can't see it, but it's still there. And I was listening to a program just a while back, and they were saying that now in the deepest oceans, which I think is like 11 kilometres deep, we're talking deep here, I think it's in the Pacific Ocean, 11 kilometres deep, down at ground level, in the sea, the fish have plastic molecular leftover inside them. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, the whole ocean. It's not even what's on the surface that's a problem. It's what's drifting between the surface and the seabed. That's even more the problem. And there is nowhere now where there isn't molecular plastic which is being ingested by fish, which we eat. And it's all over the world. And it's spreading. There might be a few places maybe that it's not as bad as other places, but it is a severe problem. Even if it was the only problem we had on Earth, you'd say, no, we've got to deal with this. But we're playing with it at the moment, and that's a problem. It needs to be dealt to. But almost everything that mankind sort of is attempting to deal to in our time, it's all sticking plaster dealing to. Political parties in certainly Western countries, they've only got to survive a few years, and then they come or they go. And so they're more concerned about retaining their income and the prestige of their position in many cases than what they are about doing the right thing for the country and the people of the country who they represent. And so nothing gets dealt to properly. Changing leadership every few years is causing a problem. But I'm not here to talk about political drama. There's enough of that around. I might touch on it later on. But we've got that. We've got this really serious problem with nuclear reactors, where what do we do with the waste? They have not found out a way to store away in a harmless form nuclear waste anywhere. And every nuclear reactor has this problem. And they're saying now that because of the cost of lithium and other things involved in zilch fossil fuel, like all these windmills which generate power, or solar panels and things like that, not only are they very expensive to produce, but they just haven't got the longevity that we're used to. And the only way they're surviving is they're surviving because we, the public, in the Western world especially, subsidise the stupid things. And people can say, yeah, well, look, if we don't, the planet's going to burn up and overheat and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not pushing a barrow either way. There's certainly some question marks on that. But you go, okay, so what's the alternative? The alternative is, most probably the most likely alternative, is nuclear fuel and energy. But we can't get rid of the radioactive waste in any form. Like it's a drama for tens of thousands of years. And wherever we put it, it's toxic times a million. So you've got that sort of problem. And as I say, the windmill thing, the cost and the ineffectiveness of it and the need for wind, or the solar panels, the cost, the ineffectiveness of it, or the cost for the panels and the fact that what's in the panels is so toxic that basically in the Western world we don't put them in with our garbage and our garbage tips because they pollute water supply and everything else, but we give it to other countries, of course, you know how it is. And it's a bit of a dead-end street unless we use fossil fuels or we go back to horse and cart. And I don't think many people are going to want to do that. So we've got all that problem. There's the situation like with Chernobyl, which a lot of us know about. They've encased it in concrete, but they haven't got rid of the problem. It's still there, and it's still bubbling away, and it will be for thousands of years. And then you've got situations like Fukushima over in Japan, where the core of at least a couple of the nuclear reactors, they haven't been able to what's the word I'm looking for, to capture it. It's melted into the core of the earth now. And well, I gather just trying to cool it down. Not an expert on this, but 600 tonnes of radioactive waste every day going into the Pacific Ocean. And you just go like, you've got to be kidding. But that's what's happening. And can they do anything about it? They can't do a thing about it. It will take tens of thousands of years for it to neutralise in any significant form. We've got all that. But then we've got the pollution going into the skies and going into the sea and just even polluting the land with toxic things. We've got deforestation. We've got GE, everything. GM's, genetically engineered assistance for plants that we grow, and then feeding animals and fish where we feed them inside barriers where it's controlled by men, feeding them things which we're not too sure how much it's going to. Also they put on weight and you can obtain more money for them, but whether these chemicals and alike they're getting fed is going to affect us in any way, we're not sure. And is it in some way adding to the dilemma we've got, like with Alzheimer's or with cancer in general, or even just with our heart, or polluting our blood, or whatever? We just don't know. And the fact is if we're honest, right, our planet is in a state, right? It's in a real worry, and we've got this on top of all those things, everything to do with just nature, the pollution we've got just mankind. We've got financial debt drama all over the world, especially the Western world, where you just can't keep going into debt. And with our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren, if we go that far, they have to face the music for our stupidity and inability to evaluate the effect on future people. We have all that. And then you've got, and I'm not trying to push a barrow here, but maybe this one's worth pushing. In the States so far, they have had 62 million abortions, 62 million. And again, I'm not trying to get on a moral bandwagon here, but it's questionable. They are living, formed babies that you can see inside the womb. And some abortions are right up at full term. And if a baby survives the abortion after at full term and is still alive, it can be left. Well, in our country it can anyway. It left till it dies. It's not allowed medical assistance. I mean, you've got to wonder, where are we going with all this sort of stuff? And what's going to happen? And then you've got nuclear arms. How many hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, the earth can be blown up by nuclear weapons? Oh, where's it going to stop? And sooner or later, someone, maybe losing a war or something, will just go, well, we're not going down. If we're going to go down, we're going to take everyone with us. And we won't be able to prevent this. And all this is happening around us. And then you've got the political system, especially again the Western world, but there's just not a stable country. And even if people think they're stable, people think our country's stable, New Zealand, but it's not stable. There are a lot of people complaining a lot about just about everything. If you have a leaning one way, you might think it's better than what it used to be, but they're all sticking plaster solutions. They don't work, and they're not ever going to work. And it boils down to a saying that's in the Bible, and it says, cursed is the man who trusts in man. Man, he's limited. We can't see afar off. We don't evaluate the potential negative, or we might exaggerate the positive, but we don't seem to want to assess negative potential with things that enhance our reputation or our pocket. And it's bizarre. And here we are, just in this time, we are now living 6,000 years of mankind doing his thing. And, time's up. We've done the planet in. And for all our efforts and all our sincerity, if it be that, and integrity, if it be that, in reality, it's not going to stop. I'm not being negative. I'm just being a realist. It is not going to stop. And the reason it's not, when I say not going to stop, I mean the problems that we face. If perchance we eliminate one, we've got 10 others that are increasing. And we haven't eliminated one, in one sense, yet, properly, of modern day serious problem. And so we just go like, how far is this all going to go? Where do we draw the line on all this? Now, I get why people don't believe the Bible and don't want to be Christian, because you look around and you see the so-called representation and scratch your head and just sometimes just you got to wonder, don't you? Like, the whole religious thing's just a joke, and tradition. And we sort of decide that, well, if that's what it is, well, I don't want anything to do with it. And then we go, what's an alternative? Well, you could always say that we evolved and that there was an explosion one day in space and 80 billion years ago, and everything's just spun off from there in perfect order, one might say. And it's sort of like the problem. We embrace that. And I go, look, I've assessed like the likelihood of evolution being real or not. It's not the theory of evolution. It's the evolution of a theory. They're changing it as they go. It's like I heard a guy on the radio the other day, and he was saying that like there's still mega dinosaurs around. He was getting questioned, and he got quite sort of upset. And the person said, "Well, no, there's not dinosaurs," and he said, "There is," and he was deadly serious. And he says they've evolved, and now they're birds. And I go, mate, you can't just say that. And I don't care how you sort of fiddle things. You need a bit more proof than that. And when you've got the whole, like, potential of something divine creating everything as the alternative, you've got to assess that. And I have found, I'm a level-headed boy, and I've made an evaluation which I believe is honest. And I think it is far more, which I'll go into later on, but I think it's far more likely, even mathematicians say, that the odds for evolution being a reality, it's beyond odds. They call it now, it's impossible. And yet in schools we have to believe it, in universities we have to believe it. We've got scientists telling us this, that and the other. And I don't think it's true. But that doesn't solve this problem either way, the way that we look at it. And so we've got all these things happening around us. And as I was saying, like last but not least, just the political instability where, especially in the Western world, where leaders are into it for, at times, maybe not throw them all into this, but it appears that there are several who could be doing deals under the table and more concerned about their pocket than the well-being of mankind. And it goes on. But the point of this is not to get into all that. But I think we need to consider things like at the moment we're sort of electrifying everything and needing batteries for everything, like for cars and everything else. The sooner we get rid of anything fossil fuelish, the better. But the problem is that there is a great need for lithium for batteries and for nickel, which I don't know too much about. But I don't need to. All I know is the Earth is very limited in what it can supply. And I know that the cost of a battery for a car, after you've used the first battery, is like similar to the cost of the car, maybe a bit less. But that's where it all, and they're becoming less available. It's becoming more scarce than what it has been, and there is no more. What are we going to do? You know, we got a problem, and that's the point I'm trying to make in this first segment of the problem, why we got the problem, and the amazing solution to it. Because there is a solution to this, and it's not a maybe; it is an absolute certainty. It's not guesswork. This is precise proof, tangible proof. And all I would say is, in regards to Christianity, yes, there are a lot of people who have been put off by almost the idiocy of people saying that they're Christians. There's been that for sure, and the hypocrisy of people in that position. There has been that too, for sure. But I'll tell you something, and you've got to know this. The Lord has never let anyone down. There is a God, and he has a way, and that's just how it is. But that can be proven. You know, if you listen to this, the next two segments, you'll get where we're coming from. And we're not talking a maybe here. We're talking absolute certainty. And that matters. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. As I said at the beginning, you know, it is folly for a man to answer a question before he hears it. Hear this out and then make your call. Everybody should hear the argument out that we're putting forth with this. But the fact is, whether we like it or whether we don't, we are living in awkward times. And our earth is not keeping up the way that we would like it to. It says in Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, this is out of Luke in chapter 21, and it talks about the time that we're in right now. And this was spoken by Jesus 2,000 years ago, and it says this, it says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations. This is said 2,000 years ago, that there will be distress of nations with perplexity, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things that are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. People are looking at what's happening on the earth, and it's overwhelming. It's too much. When you sit down and work it all out, whether it be the money drama, the political drama, the nature drama, or the nuclear drama, just power drama, whatever. It's serious. And Jesus spoke about this all this time ago, 2,000 years back. Man, you tell me how you would describe today distress of nations. That is exactly what I would say. It's everywhere. With perplexity. How are we going to solve these things? How? It's just out of control. It is out of control. And we've got people everywhere saying what they think is best. But all temporary sticking plaster fixes. It's not working. We're going down. And as it says here, you know, like men's hearts failing them for fear. When you start to look at all these things that are happening, we need a change. Individually, we need a change. And as nations, we need a change. This cannot continue like this. And if you're honest, you will admit that. And there is a reason why this is happening, which we'll go into in the next segment. There is a reason. And it's got all of us. And we have to see it for what it is so that we can confront it. But the solution, the problem can be identified. The solution is not going to be of man. We're not going to be able to do it. We can't do it. We haven't got it in us. We like to think we've got it in us, and sometimes we even do very confidently think we've got it in us, but we haven't. Mankind's caught in a hard, between a rock and a hard place, and that's what we'll go into next. So, okay, very quickly, the earth's in trouble. Mankind's not doing a very good job of sorting it out. We're at the end of the age that Jesus Christ spoke of. The situation among the nations is as he said it would be. And we've got to confront this and do something about it. We've got to. So stay with us and we'll get into phase 2. Take care.